There were patterns, and they demanded consideration. The elements remained disarticulated, however, in floating tendrils, in smears of loose black-like stains swimming in his vision. But at least he could now see, and that was something. The rotted cloth had pulled away from his eyes, tugged by currents he could not feel. The key to unlocking everything would be found in the patterns. He was certain of that. If only he could draw them together, he would understand. He would know all he needed to know. He would be able to make sense of the visions that tore through him. The strange, two-legged lizard, all clad in black gleaming armour, its tail nothing more than a stub, standing on a stone landing of some sort, whilst rivers of blood flowed down gutters to each side. Its unhuman eyes fixed unblinking on the source of all that blood. A dragon, nailed to a latticework of enormous wooden beams, the spikes rust-hued and dripping with condensation. Suffering roiled down from this creature, a death denied, a life transformed into an eternity of pain. And from the standing lizard, cold satisfaction rose in a cruel penumbra. In another, two wolves seemed to be watching him from a weathered ridge of grasses and bony outcrops, guarded, uneasy, as if measuring a rival. Behind them, rain slanted down from heavy clouds, and he found himself turning away, as if indifferent to their regard, to walk across a denuded plain. In the distance, dolmens of some sort rose from the ground, scores of them, arranged without any discernible order, and yet all seemed identical. Perhaps statues, then. He drew closer, frowning at the shapes, so oddly surmounted by jutting cowls, their hunched, narrow backs to him, tails curled round. The ground they crouched on glittered as if strewn with diamonds or crushed glass. Even as he closed in on these silent, motionless sentinels, moments from reaching the nearest one, a heavy shadow slipped over him, and the air was suddenly frigid. In wrought despair, he halted, looked up. Nothing but stars, each one drifting as if snapped from its tether, like motes of dust on a slowly draining pool. Faint voices sinking down, touching his brow like flecks of snow, melting in the instant, all meaning lost. Arguments in the abyss, but he understood none of them. To stare upward was surreal, unbalanced, and he felt his feet lift from the earth until he floated. Twisting round, he looked down. More stars, but emerging from their midst, a dozen raging suns of green fire, slashing through the black fabric of space, fishes of light bleeding through. The closer they came, the more massive they grew, blinding him to all else, and the maelstrom of voices rose to a clamour, and what had once felt like flakes of snow, quickly melting upon his heated brow, now burned like fire. If he could but draw close the fragments, make the mosaic whole, and so comprehend the truth of the patterns. If he could. Swirls! Yes, they are that. The motion does not deceive. The motion reveals the shape beneath. Swirls in curls of fur. Tattoos. See them now. See them. All at once, as the tattoos settled into place, he knew himself. I am Heberic Ghost Hands, destriant to a cast-down god. I see him. I see you, Fanar. The shape, so massive, so lost, unable to move. His god was trapped, and, like Heberic, was mute witness to the blazing jade suns as they bore down. He and his god were in their path, and these were forces that could not be pushed aside. No shield existed solid enough to block what was coming.
The Abyss cares nothing for us. The Abyss comes to deliver its own arguments against which we cannot stand. Vanna, I have doomed you, and you, old god, you have doomed me. Yet, I no longer regret, for this is as it should be. After all, war knows no other language. In war, we invite our own destruction. In war, we punish our children with a broken legacy of blood.
He understood now, the gods of war and what they meant, what their very existence signified. And as he stared upon those jade suns searing ever closer, he was overwhelmed by the futility hiding behind all this arrogance, this mindless conceit.
See us wave our banners of hate. See where it gets us.
A final war had begun, facing an enemy against whom no defense was possible. Neither words nor deeds could fool this clear-eyed arbiter, immune to lies, indifferent to excuses and vapid discourses on necessity, on the weighing of two evils and the facile righteousness of choosing the lesser one. And yes, these were the arguments he was hearing, empty as the ether they travelled.
We stood tall in paradise, and then called forth the gods of war to bring destruction down upon ourselves, our world, the very earth, its air, its water, its myriad life. No, show me no surprise, no innocent bewilderment. I see now with the eyes of the Abyss. I see now with my enemy's eyes, and so I shall speak with its voice. Behold, my friends, I am justice, and when at last we meet, you will not like it. And if irony awakens in you at the end, see me weep with these tears of jade, and answer with a smile. If you've the courage, have you, my friends, the courage?